Hey guys, it's Mike here, and a little while back on my channel, I discussed how planet busting works in Dragon Ball Z, which you could see in the top right corner. But now what I'm going to be doing is taking that to the next level and discussing exactly how solar system busting works in Dragon Ball Z and the overall franchise. So before I begin, if you're new to this channel and you like this content, consider subscribing and enabling notifications so you can stay up to date with all my future videos. Additionally, if you like this content, leave a like down below, let me know your own thoughts in the comments, share this video out. All of that will really help people see even more content like this so I can make even more in the future. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Okay, so the first and really only example in the original Dragon Ball manga of a solar system buster level feat comes down to the final climactic showdown between Super Perfect Cell after he returns from his self-destruction going up against Gohan. Now, Cell had powered up significantly after his self-destruction, as he explains right here. Not only was he able to fully regenerate from his semi-perfect Cell form all the way back into his perfect, but additionally got a large boost in power, as he explains right here, due to his brush with death from his Saiyan cells, the Zenkai boost, which I also broke down in depth in a video you can see in the top right corner with how Zenkai boosts work in Dragon Ball. Now, with what he says right here, he came back even more perfect than ever with the ability to teleport. Now, as everything goes on, Gohan gets injured. We've all seen it before, and if you haven't yet, well, you should definitely read the manga or check out the anime, because this section is really great. But nonetheless, Cell begins to charge up his Kamehameha in order to kind of punctuate the section here with defeating Gohan with his father's ultimate technique, which of course was invented by Master Roshi, not Goku. But either way, the fact of the matter is, as Cell continues to power up more and more, channeling his energy, eventually he says right here, as you could see, I have enough chi to blow away the entire solar system. So after accumulating enough power in his body and channeling it into this blast, he now has enough power to destroy the entire solar system. Now, how exactly would this actually work in reality, though? This is why I decided to make this into an entire video, because even though I did briefly touch on it in that other video, I feel like this is something that really needs to be expanded more, because there are a lot of questions that come up. For example, earlier on in the fight, when Cell was just perfect Cell, when he was fighting against Gohan, who had overpowered him as a Super Saiyan 2, he flew up into the air, realizing that he would not be able to defeat Gohan, and decided to pull a Frieza here, which I'll also get into that feat later on, and decided to charge up his Kamehameha. As he says right here, yes, a Kamehameha at full power. Dodge and the earth will be pulp. You'll have to take it head on. So interestingly, Cell right here is saying that even with this giant Kamehameha, where he's putting all of his power directly into it and firing it down at Gohan, all that's going to happen, according to this, is that he would be able to destroy the Earth, not the entire solar system. And even when Gohan fires his Kamehameha directly at Cell's, sending it back, hitting Cell, and then going off into space, it doesn't blow up, it doesn't destroy the solar system or anything like that, or any planet that we can know of. You know, maybe it hits one eventually, you know, years in the future, who really knows? But the fact of the matter is, nothing really occurs. Now, a lot of this also comes down, as I discussed in my previous video, which I talked about before, to intention. Cell is up in the air right now. He has the intention of destroying the Earth with his Kamehameha. However, the question is, with his full power right here, is this all he would be able to destroy? Or with this power, would he be able to also destroy the solar system if he were to theoretically, I don't know, split up the one large blast into, 9 or even more little blasts that'd be able to hit each planet simultaneously, along with the sun, that maybe he'd be able to direct the majority of the energy into. After all, if we go back to earlier on to the first example of a planet buster level feat in Dragon Ball Z and the Dragon Ball manga, this happens during the fight between Vegeta and Goku. Now remember, Vegeta only has a power level of 18,000, and when he goes to channel his power into his Gallic Gun, his power does increase a little bit to being around 24,000. Because Goku charges up his Kamehameha with the Kaioken times 3, his power level is a little bit above 8,000 at this point, and then he's able to match up to Vegeta's attack, which Vegeta himself said before earlier on in the fight would be able to reduce the entire planet to ashes. And so, as a result, you have to wonder if Vegeta with a power level of 24,000, and of course, if we want to use the filler where he attacks Arlia, he isn't putting out anywhere near this amount of power, and yet he's still able to destroy it. Same thing with King Vegeta, where he destroys a planet with, a very simple looking blast in a flashback in the Namek arc to, when Vegeta was a kid and he observed everything happening. The fact of the matter is that when we see this occurring with Vegeta at 18,000 powering up to around 24-ish, and then we see Cell, who is vastly more powerful, firing a full power Kamehameha, you have to wonder, why wouldn't Cell be able to destroy the entire solar system, or vastly more than that, even right now at this point? Same thing happens with Frieza. Now, as we know, Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta, which was a planet that had 10 times the gravity of the Earth, and if physics work relatively the same in the Dragon Ball universe, this should mean that it has 10 times the density or mass overall than planet Earth does. In other effect, this would mean that it would be essentially like Frieza destroyed 10 Earths by destroying planet Vegeta. And he did this in just his first form, or really his fourth form, his most suppressed form, which had a power level of 530,000. Of course, his power level in his final form, at his 100% bulked up, is 120 million, whereas he can go up to 70% of that power in this lesser form, this kind of just normal base form that we could see right here, with his 70% power level being somewhere in the 80 million range. However, with that being said, he still kind of has to charge up this blast a little bit and charge up his power before he launches it at planet Namek. And this is like the first feat that we actually get to see of somebody destroying a planet on screen in the manga. However, even then, when Frieza at this massive power level throws a blast at the planet, he still holds back significantly according to his own words, and only destroys it through a chain reaction. So again, we have to wonder if Vegeta was only going to destroy the Earth here with a chain reaction by attacking the core, if Goku did not match it. And additionally, if that's the case, you have to also wonder, wouldn't Frieza, with, like I just showed before, the ability to destroy a planet 10 times the gravity of Earth, be able to, in the very same form, be able to destroy, 10 Earths simultaneously if you were to separate that one giant blast and fire it simultaneously at 10 different planets, which, could theoretically make up an entire solar system, disregarding the star. Or maybe he could destroy a little star, and then the supernova would destroy all the planets in the solar system as well. However, it's never told to us at any point that Frieza would be a solar system buster, even though in this form, at his full power, he'd be over 1,000 times by far more powerful than Vegeta. Many thousands of times, in fact. And of course, Cell here as Perfect Cell is also vastly more powerful than Frieza was on Namek, even in his 120 million 100% full power form. And so as a result, should not Cell with a full power Kamehameha that we could see right here also be able to destroy the entire solar system with ease at this point? Or is there some kind of disparity that we're not really told about that he only makes up when he gets the power up here? After all, how many times more powerful did Cell really become when he became Super Perfect Cell? I don't think he became many tens or hundreds or even thousands of times more powerful to where he would be able to make up, the disparity between destroying a small planet and destroying the sun in the solar system. And so as a result, you have to kind of wonder the question of, why couldn't Cell have destroyed the solar system, or Goku or Vegeta or anyone else at the Cell games at this point, when they were so far above Frieza in this form, who is also so far above himself in this form, which destroyed a planet that was 10 times the gravity of planet Earth. You have to kind of wonder how all of that really makes sense in universe, and maybe if it all just comes down merely to intention. And again, the point of maybe, even imperfect Cell could have theoretically destroyed the solar system when you really think about everything like that, but he didn't have the intention to do so because obviously he wasn't planning to. Whereas Cell here, when he's charging up his full power attack, is saying that he's able to. However, I think a lot of it also comes down to out of universe. What really comes down to here is that Toriyama instead wanted to kind of show off, a really big feat of power. So when he has Cell charging up his Kamehameha, he's like, well, this obviously would be way more powerful than enough to destroy a planet. This is the most powerful villain who is way more powerful than Frieza, a guy who blew up planets casually. So naturally, let's say that he could destroy a solar system. Obviously, a star is way bigger and a lot harder to destroy theoretically than a planet would be in this situation. But still, nonetheless, you'd have to wonder if they would be able to easily destroy a solar system earlier, or if Vegeta could have done it with his final flash, if Goku could have done it when he used the Kamehameha against Cell, that blasted off his top half, and, if Cell could have used the exact same level of power here that he was using to fire at Gohan, that I guess he assumed he'd be able to overpower Gohan with, while also destroying the Earth, to, instead use the intention to destroy the solar system. Another thing is, too, that there would be different ways to destroy the solar system, of course, when we actually break it down logically. Like, for example, maybe Cell, when he's talking about destroying a solar system here, means that his power would be so massive that he would fire a blast and it would explode in the center of the solar system, at the star, and then the explosion would have a radius so gigantic that would eclipse the entire solar system in one giant explosion. Whereas with the prior explosions that you'd be able to utilize with, let's say, this Kamehameha right here, the explosion radius would not be large enough to encompass the entire solar system. Instead, he would rather be able to, fire a blast that would bulldoze each individual planet and then maybe destroy the star at the end of that. Or, maybe set off a chain reaction, kind of like Frieza did on Namek when he destroyed the core of the planet, which would then in turn lead it to exploding within 5 minutes. Instead, Cell would fire a Kamehameha at the sun, which would then cause it to do a very similar thing and go and cause a chain reaction that would then in turn cause a supernova and blow up everything in the solar system. And, I guess that anything it wouldn't destroy would then go spiraling off into space and be destroyed kind of that way in effect anyway. I mean, when it talks about destroying a solar system, when we use the word destroy, or, in this case, in this translation, Cell is saying blow away the entire solar system, it doesn't mean that he has to deatomize or completely vaporize everything in it, just that he has to disrupt it enough to where that solar system really doesn't exist in the same capacity it does anymore. So theoretically, again, when it comes down to this, it could be an explosion radius big enough to encapsulate and completely vaporize everything. It could be, this blast would separate and destroy everything in the solar system one, hit at a time and blow everything up and destroy them that way. Or, it could be a big blast that would just bulldoze everything around in like a circle and then, destroy everything that way. Although, again, when we really think about it, we can even look back at movies like, the first Cooler movie, for example, where Goku blasts Cooler into the sun with Cooler's death explosion attack, that, the big death ball that was basically what Frieza used against the planet Vegeta, but obviously much stronger one that Goku fired at Cooler with the Kamehameha and sent him into the sun. And it basically looked like he blew up the sun in that particular movie, even though obviously the people who made that aren't scientists. They probably didn't think maybe if we destroy the sun, it would also destroy the Earth and, disrupt everything in the solar system. That explosion definitely looked pretty big. Although at the same time, the family Kamehameha that sent Broly through the sun also somehow didn't destroy it. And you can argue that that explosion would have been much, more powerful than theoretically anything that Cell would have been able to put out here. So when it comes down to this, it definitely isn't the most consistent. As we know, feats in Dragon Ball definitely always aren't. But with that being said, I think that I've explained kind of how a solar system buster level attack theoretically would work based upon a number of different scenarios that could play out from this situation, and that anyone with a high enough level of power and the intention behind it would be able to do exactly that. But alright guys, this has been my explanation of how solar system busting works in Dragon Ball Z. Let me know your own thoughts down below in the comments. Also, if you're new here, again, consider subscribing and enabling notifications so you can stay tuned to all my future videos. Leave a like, share this video out, and thanks for watching. Make sure to stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
Yeah, and you better subscribe.